So Jim Ratcliffe injecting cash into Manchester United and planning a big spend with three key areas identified. Apparently, FFP won't be an issue. Now, why won't FFP be an issue? Because Jim is ready to get brutal on the sales. And one of the players that Ineos want gone is Antony, but they're getting resistance reportedly from Ten Hag, among many other stories on the ins and the outs that Ineos have planned. We've got news on Eric Ramsey's departure, news of all things happening at United ahead of the Fulham game. So we're going to summarize all this news in less than 10 minutes for you guys. So please do hit the like button and of course subscribe down below if you're new. It was said, first of all, a busy summer is expected at Manchester United, with United no longer in danger of breaching the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. The club will have more room for manoeuvre when it comes to the accounting period resets on the 1st of July. So Jim Ratcliffe is ready to sanction a significant transfer spend at Manchester United this summer, with the club's financial restrictions easing and a number of player sales planned. So obviously there's been reports over the last week that United aren't going to spend big this summer because of FFP, because we've got to be careful and all of that. And now we've got reports coming out saying that they are going to spend big. What we do know is I think 90 million of the cash that Ratcliffe's invested into United goes into the transfer window, which adds 90 million to the budget that won't impact FFP. What we do know is we've got a lot of sellable assets at United. It's just whether we sell them or not. And as said, the accounts reset on the 1st of July. So I think to an extent, what we spend will be determined on how we sell massively. But I do think there's going to be a lot more money there to spend than United make out. And I think it will be a bit of a negotiation tactic from United to try and make out they've got a lot less money than they have to spend. But I think it will massively depend on sales. But what are the key three areas / targets identified ahead of the summer window? Has believed to be centre-back, centre-forward and a central midfield player, which not right-winger, which kind of surprises me there. But as I said in my live stream yesterday, and as I've said time and time again, Fabrizio Romano came out in December and said in January United will keep an eye on centre-backs and strikers, but it's unlikely because they don't have much money to spend. But Romano had been saying for a while that centre-back and striker is sort of what United have been looking at. Someone to help Rasmus Højlund because Martial will be leaving, and then of course another centre-back to come in, especially because Evans, Lindelof, Maguire and Varane's future, like none of them are safe, and Martinez is injured, so it's like we don't actually have a centre-back that could be guaranteed to be playing every game next season, with Martinez's injuries and the other four not being safe. Centre-back will be there. I think there'll be two centre-backs on there, and we know that United are looking at a number of centre-backs. There's been at least 10 players we're linked to. And I think the centre-back market's really good at the moment. I think the midfield market is difficult because all the good players are going to be really expensive and you've got to scout well. The centre-forward market is difficult, but I think the centre-back market is really good for United. I think centre-forward-wise, Xerxes and Tell, they're two interesting players we're looking at. Central midfield-wise, we're looking at Amadou Onana, but I think he's good. But I'm not 100% convinced. I think Braithwaite's a bit better for me when I've watched Everton. And then Max Mufc would be a good one. We're looking at Fofana of Monaco. And then obviously centre-back. Todibo, I think, will make a move for Inacio, Braithwaite, Antonio Silva, Lenny Euro, Assam, the Bulgarian centre-back we've been recently linked to, Tapsoba, Mark Gay even. There's a lot of decent players out there, some better than others, that United will look at. But as I said, what Man United spend will massively depend on who they sell. And these are what's reported by Matt Hughes and Chris Wheeler of the Daily Mail. In terms of sales, they said that they're hopeful that the sales of Van der Beek, Sancho, Pellistri and Mejbri could raise over 50 million this summer. And the mad thing is we're hoping to raise 50 million from those four players that we spent. 72 million on Sancho, 40 million on Donny. That's instantly 110 million. And then you've got to think, well, Mejbri and Pellistri probably came to 20 million combined. We spent nearly 130 million on all of these players, and we want to see them get 50 million for them in the summer is absolutely crazy as well. But I think we probably will sell those players. I think it's decided that we will sell those players. It might just be difficult to sell because Donny's loan is going, Mejbri's loan is going, Sancho's loan is going, Pellistri's loan is going well, and he's on low wages. So Pellistri might be one to sell, but he's like one of the last players I'd sell. Like, I'm not bothered about Pellistri. Ten Hag's not going to play him, so I'd sell him and get the money. But I'd probably rather Pellistri pay than Antony on the right wing, which we will get into the Antony story in a second. It was also said the futures of Wan-Bissaka and Casemiro are uncertain, while one of Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof are likely to be made available for transfers this summer as well. So, yeah, I think Wan-Bissaka could go. I think Casemiro could go. And I think Lindelof will probably go out of Lindelof and Maguire. One, because it looks like Ten Hag prefers Maguire. But two, Lindelof's got 1 year left on his contract and Lindelof's on a lower wage. So we need to sell Lindelof this summer. And Lindelof will be easy to sell because he's on a lower wage. We could sell Maguire. He didn't want to move because he didn't want to change wages. So I assume it will probably be Lindelof that goes of the two, but you never No, it was also said that Manchester United will be tempted to cash in on Mason Greenwood as an academy product. The sale of the forward would be registered immediately as profit in United's 2024-25 accounts, giving a major boost to their transfer budget. I think McTominay, I think Mason Greenwood, I think Mejbri, I think those three players is going to be pure profit in terms of FFP. I think that's what United want to do. And unfortunately, Alvaro Fernandez will also be pure profit in FFP, who I kind of wish we kept around, and we might be getting a measly 6 million for them. We're like scraping the barrels in sales, but they look like the players that could go. I also think Varane could potentially go, has been reported. McTominay could potentially go, has been reported. Antony could potentially go as well. Now, what did they say about the spend before we get into the Antony story? What was sort of being said about the spend by Matt Hughes and Chris Wheeler? They said that Manchester United's annual income has risen considerably from 477 million to 648 million over the last 3 seasons, giving them more cash to spend this summer. It's mad to think how awful we've been, but how much money we still managed to make. Like, imagine how much money we'll generate if we were playing like Manchester City the last 10 years. I mean, Man City have to lie about how much they make, but like we still basically make the most despite what we put out, and which is crazy. And if Ineos get us back to the top, with FFP rules being you can only spend what you make, and us being the biggest club that makes the most, and if we get back to the top, we're going to continually make the most. As long as we spend that money efficiently, we will sustainably stay at the top of world football, which a lot of people don't realise. It was also said that Sergio Ratcliffe is ready to sanction a significant transfer spend at Manchester United this summer, with the club's financial restrictions easing, a number of player sales planned as well. So that was also added there, and I think big transfer spend might happen. I think United is going to. I think there's going to be mixed reports, and I put this in notes to remember because I like to give you guys context and clarity. James Ducker reported only a few days ago that we're on a bit of a tightrope in terms of FFP. We might not have much to spend, so I generally think that United will be putting out mixed reports about spending loads, and then mixed reports about us not having much to spend. And I think they'll be putting out reports of the FFP being tight, not having much to spend as a potential transfer tactic. So teams know that we don't have loads of money going into the transfer window and don't go, well, it's Man United, they've got loads of money, they've got Ineos in. We're going to change the price from 50 million to 70 million, which is what they do with United. Man United might be putting out and playing that they've got a lot less money than they do, which would probably be quite smart from United because they might want to go to transfer window with people not thinking they've got loads of money and thinking they can't take advantage of them. And then also, I think generally how much United spend is massively down to how we sell. I think we're going to have a lot more money than we make out. I think there is going to be a decent amount of money to spend. But who we buy and how much we can spend is going to massively depend on sales. You know, if we get 40 million for Greenwood, if we can get 30 million for Sancho, that's 70 million. But I don't think we will. If we can get 40 million for McTominay, if we can get 20 million for Lindelof, 20 million for Wan-Bissaka, you know, there is money there to be made. It's just, can we get that money? Could we get a good offer for 50 million from Saudi for Casemiro? Could we get a good offer for Wan-Bissaka? So I think it massively depends on, of course, who we sell. Can we get a big offer for Antony? I doubt it. Ten Hag wants to keep him. But yeah, but also there was a report that Ratcliffe is going to inject another 90 million into the transfer budget, which would be pure cash injection, which means it's not like it's got nothing to do with FFP or something. It was some report that came out a month ago. I don't know how credible that is. In terms of Antony, though, apparently Antony is wanted out by Ineos, according to Steve Bates. He said that Erik ten Hag wants more from Antony and will resist attempts to offload the winger, even on loan, despite Antony being in the firing line by Ineos. Ten Hag wants to give Antony another chance, despite his underwhelming performances. I mean, you'd think Antony has Ten Hag's nudes at this rate. I mean, he's Mr. Undroppable, he's Mr. Untouchable. But I get it to an extent. I think we need to sell Antony. I think we need to move on from Antony. He's had 2 seasons. There was a bit of promise in his first season. This season's been bad, but he's had off the pitch distractions. But at Man United, that level that he's showing is not good enough. I don't think he's enough in his first season for me to say I can be patient with him. So, like, Rashford's been bad this season, but Rashford was so good last season that I can be patient with Rashford. And Rashford this season has still been miles better than Antony. Do you know what I mean? Whereas Antony was meh last season and been bad this season, but he's been really bad this season and he wasn't good enough last season for me to say, let's keep Antony. For me, I would sell Antony. I think Ten Hag has really rated Antony, really admired him at Ajax. We spent 85 million on him. Ten Hag really believed there's a player in Antony. He really believes he's going to be a crucial player. I think Ten Hag just wants Antony to work because a lot of money was spent on him, but ultimately I think we're just going to have to let that one go. But Ten Hag would even willing to let him go on loan to see if we can get better. I think Ten Hag really wants it to work for Antony. Antony is his boy, but at Manchester United, if they're not good enough, it doesn't matter if they're your boy or not. You've got to let them go. In terms of related articles, it was said that recruitment conversations with Ratcliffe and Ineos director Sir Dave Brailsford have focused on the need to offload players to boost the budget for United. And we're going to have a video coming out tonight about the 11 players that have been planned, that Ineos have planned to offload, and the 5 players that Ineos could bring in, and what our potential starting 11 could look like next season. So do subscribe for that, 7 p.m. tonight. But it was also said that Manchester United have money to spend in the next transfer window, but concerns about the club's financial position, in particular preaching profit and sustainability rules, will limit the funds available, is what was said by Rob Dawson. So that was sort of all the latest that's come out over the last few days on Ineos's plans and transfer plans. I've got a video that's going to summarize all of that and what our starting 11 could look like next season coming out tonight. And then the final story was a little bit just about Eric Ramsey agreeing to depart United. A lot of people celebrating this, but Eric Ramsey hasn't been the second piece coach reportedly for a year and a half. Tenag's taken that over. So Eric Ramsey actually has nothing to do with our poor set pieces. It has nothing to do with the problems at Manchester United. But there's a decent coach in Eric Ramsey, but I feel like we just didn't use him properly. Anyway, guys, that is the end of today's video. Please do smash the likes. Please do subscribe down below if you're new. Thank you for watching. Bye.